Welcome to a very special episode of Riverside Chats, where we sit down and talk to the man himself, Uhmillion. Twitch streamer, content creator, Discord king, trader, entertainer, amazing personality, and just, really interesting and nice guy. But he has so much going on, it was great to be able to jump on his busy schedule and talk to him. Thanks for tuning in. Riverside Chats, 100 a million. So what's going on in Canada, the beautiful, beautiful country of Canada?
Well,
is winter over?
Kinda. I still have my winter tires on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been sort of getting warmer. Snow's starting to melt, and it's all the potholes are starting to appear everywhere. So what happens is like the snow plows, they rip up all the roads, and then I pay for it. I smashed up one of my rims pretty good, and I had to buy a new set of rims. So that was
gotcha.
pretty fun.
Gotcha.
Nice, beautiful, sunny day today. Very warm.
Oh yeah, first day of spring. This is the equinox. That's nice. Well, hey, I just wanted to say I really appreciate you coming on the show, and I'm pumped to be able to ask you about a few things from a point of view that I'm very interested in. I guess we share a few commonalities, and
yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on. I know things are busy for you, and that's kind of my first thing. Really, let's just do it. So I kind of realized it when I saw your Discord community, and then I saw you hit 10,000 followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
And the Twitch thing seems to be going great. Basically, what I'd like to start with, and by the way, if anybody is wondering, Riverside Chats is basically this podcast, which is geared. I work for Black Box Stocks. The idea is I want to kind of talk with, it's not like interviewing people, but just have conversations with significant individuals within the Black Box Stocks and just general trading community. And it's not really about like your trading setup or, what you're looking at for those things. It's more of a way for people to, however you guys are comfortable with this, to just get to know you, a little bit outside of that, right? Just a little bit, I'm not going to ask for your address or anything, but right. But the idea is just to kind of, spend a few minutes kind of talking about like just what it's like. And we can definitely talk trading 100% if we'd like to. But I'd like to start like, so there's an online community, which is big, that's based around your online presence and your screen name, right? So Twitter, Discord, all this stuff that's going on. I wonder, what's that like for someone who doesn't have it? And is it weird in any way? That's what I wonder.
I don't know. I guess it's weird to like, I say this a lot, but it's weird to just like, I can just type up some words and hit send, and I have a potential audience of like over 10,000 people that are just going to read that. So I love when, I'm a few beers deep on a weekend. I just tweet out, I'm drunk. And then it gets like 30 likes or something. I'm like, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird. You get a lot of perks too. Like anyone with a following, even at like 5,000 followers, you get a lot of sweet perks as far as trading goes. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty wild, man. And then like if you combine that with Twitch as well, like I don't know. These people, they just show up and they just want to hear what I have to say for some reason. I don't really understand. It's super strange. It's super weird.
Yeah,
I love it though. It's cool.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Like it's got to be because I'm talking to a lot of traders and people with significant followers, and I don't have one. I don't necessarily want one, but I definitely think it's got to be kind of weird. Like you tweet something and there's people who are actually going to pay attention to it, and that's got to be bad sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes like I'll tweet out stupid stuff like on the weekends, and I'll go back and I'll look at what I tweeted and I'll be like, okay, because Twitter does that thing where it's like in case you missed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is anybody gonna care that they missed this? Like, for example, I posted that my computer was having issues. I'm like, okay, I could probably delete that tweet. It's like, people, it's going to come up again, and people are going to be like, oh, let me suggest more things. Meanwhile, I already fixed it, or I tweet something embarrassing on the weekend after some shots or something.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Is there regret involved? Like, how often do you regret something that you put out there, or do you just let it go and you don't really worry about it?
No, I try to. I kind of like the shock factor sometimes, so I'll just throw out like random stuff. But I don't. Yeah. I don't typically. I don't think I regret anything.
Oh,
maybe. Yeah. Do I have anything? No, I don't think so. No, I try to keep that balance of like serious and also like funny and kind of entertaining and lighthearted. So I try to hold that balance a little bit. But
yeah, sure. When did you notice a change for the better?
Gotta be in my first year probably that I had Twitter. I didn't even know what Twitter was when I first got it. I thought like it was just a place for people to just post their ideas or thoughts. So I didn't really understand Twitter. So I downloaded it thinking, and that's when my name was, $100 to $1 million. And I just wanted to just kind of post my P&L every day so I go back and look at it. Because it was easy to do. Twitter's obviously a very good program or platform to do that on. Just kind of record, whatever you want. So I kind of used it for that, and I was posting my P&Ls, and then I noticed that some people I started following, you could tag the actual ticker symbols. So I started doing that, and then I remember the first 100 followers was like insanely hard to get. That took the longest, and I wasn't trying to get followers back then, but I remember like I was under 100 followers for like, I don't know, like 2 months or something, which is wild now because now I'll get like 100 in like a week usually, or if it's a bad week I'll get none of that, but usually it's like 100 a week ish. I probably started picking up in followers when I started around when I started doing my Twitch stream and when I started hosting my show Trader Spotlight. Which when I first started I didn't even know it was called that, but yeah, then I started picking up. Maybe if like as far as a follower number, maybe around 500 followers, I started getting more interaction on Twitter, and then Twitch was weird. It's a whole different beast on Twitch. I find I'm struggling now more than ever on Twitch, which is interesting. But yeah, I'd say last year, maybe after like 6 to 7 months of having Twitter, I started to pick up in I guess popularity.
Yeah, so it's becoming a thing, and like that's what I am very interested too with your interesting story. Is like I'm wondering like how busy are you? I think some people maybe don't realize that you've got the Twitch thing, everything else. You're still working full time, right? That's my understanding. I've seen you tweet about that. You're trading very actively. Like how many hours a week do you have just for downtime? Like seriously, how much are you working at this point?
Man, that's a really good question. I've never really asked myself that because it's not very much. Like balancing a full-time job. Now, I try not to tweet too much about personal stuff. But as far as like just like time away from work, like because my show is obviously work, but I enjoy it. And I put a lot of time into that. I'm like constantly on my phone too, which is like probably unhealthy. But my screen time, if you check it, it's like usually over 10 hours a day.
Oh, wow. I was about to say.
Like it's insane, man. Because I trade off my phone too from work.
Yeah.
So I'm just like constantly on the thing. As far as downtime, I don't know. Maybe I want to say like it's low, man. It's like 5 to 15 hours or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right. Yeah. And some people I think don't get that. We have, we definitely have that in common. Like I do stuff. I work at Black Box kind of behind the scenes, and I do writing for them and content creation, and do this podcast and various things. Like it's a lot of work. People see your content, and in my opinion, because you are very good at what you do, it looks easy. And people who don't create content don't understand how much work, and maybe what we see might be the 5th draft or something. There's just so much work going into it. So and also, you're also an entertainer at heart, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, definitely. My grandfather was as well, and it just kind of flows through me.
Yeah. So like we're also both part-time traders, and we've talked, we've talked in DMs and stuff about maybe going full-time. And so you're doing a lot of stuff, but I don't want to pass your comment too quickly where you just said you trade at work. Now, do they know you're trading at work, or is that kind of on the down low?
The newer followers don't know, but
No, I mean
mostly
your boss.
everybody.
I mean your boss.
Oh, my boss.
Does your boss know?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think he would really care because like it doesn't take long. I'm usually not in
that's
trade
good.
for longer than
That's good.
like a half an hour, and we get a lot of downtime. Cause like my
Oh,
job
that's good.
consists
That's
of
good.
yeah, no, for sure. My job consists mostly of like monitoring and kind of like documentation, but you know we're kind of like emergency response, so we get a lot of downtime to kind of just watch over things. So in that time in the morning.
Yeah.
Which I don't always get. Some days are busy in the morning or we have meetings or something. I'll try to fire off a few trades.
So you're just
One thing I wanted to
Yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say one thing I wanted to touch on about the whole like content creation thing because
Yes.
it is like a full on like it's tough, man. To
Yeah.
like find the motivation to like keep pushing out content.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be the hardest part of that has got to be the engagement, like answering every DM, every comment. Keeping up a Discord is very challenging.
I can't imagine. Yeah, that specifically is something I'm interested in. Like, what is it like to have that Discord? Like, that's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally, I don't think I spend enough time there right now. Like, there'll be like a day will go by and I won't even post anything in there. But that's what happens when like you're working and trading and you know doing Twitter. Twitter probably takes up most of my time.
Yeah.
But to run a Discord properly, it's like that in itself is a full-time job. Like these guys who do the paid Discords and stuff, like I'd probably want to get paid too. Like it's a lot of work, man.
That's interesting. People get criticized for that, right? Like if you have a paid Discord, but like it's legitimate work going into it. So we're okay with getting paid for legitimate work. So that's interesting.
This is my stance on the paid Discords, okay?
Yeah.
I do not understand all the hate, bro. I don't get it. I don't know why people get so mad about the paid Discords. Unless the guy is like a straight out scammer or like he's trying to take something from you, he or she.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't really get it because when you look at like YouTubers, they have Patreons just for like, you know, just for them just to exist. You know what I mean? Like they'll be like, okay, bottom tier, I'll just post your name at the end of the video. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So it's like there's a lot worse. I don't know. I think you're getting a lot out of these paid Discords. Like, you know, I'll send you a toothbrush if you sign up for my Patreon. Like, I don't know.
Maybe
I like the paid rooms.
I wonder if it's something to do with Discord specifically and maybe just trading specifically. You know, we don't have to name any names, but there's been plenty of, you know, people since 2019, 2020 who have, you know, opened up paid trading things and called out things, and they've, you know, turned out to be less than legit, you know, and now they're kind of disappearing. Or it seems to me like a lot of people are disappearing over the last few months.
People as in who? As in the content creators or like the followers?
No, some of the like the furus, you know, some of the some of the shadier people.
Yeah, right.
So maybe that's just tainted the whole thing, you know, and people hear paid Discord and it's a trader, and maybe they just kind of associate it with those 2 or 3 bad apples, you know, and maybe it's just an unfortunate, you know, tainting of Discord maybe.
Right. Yeah. Like without naming anybody, like the first 2 paid Discords I ever heard of, like one ended up being this huge scam.
Yeah.
And then the other one was like pumping premiums, and they both kind of got caught and then made adjustments.
Right.
But maybe that just put a bad taste in because that was like the first few that I think people ever heard of.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe, you know, people associate things with that. But for people like yourself who are very legitimate and who are doing things like what's wrong with you, you know, getting paid for creating this stuff? It's amazing you do so much stuff for free, frankly. And I mean, I'm glad you do. But are you thinking like you have to be thinking? I'm doing a lot of labor. I need to get something monetarily.
Yeah, I know, man. I think about it all the time. Like,
when
I tweeted about it once, and then people were like, well, how successful are you? How consistent are you? And then you get all these
Oh.
questions, but it's like,
Oh man.
then I just kind of back away. But but then people are, they want the one-on-ones
Yeah.
and they want the call outs. People want to pay you, but it's just like the stigma you'll get. And, I'm sure I'd get in a lot of beef because I've said before, like, oh, I'll never do anything paid or whatever. But for me to actually put, the proper amount of time into like a Discord and like a private Twitter and like all this stuff for the community, like it's a lot to do all that stuff and balance a full-time job. Like, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't
know. I mean, I can't imagine that. I mean, I've just do a full-time job and trade on the side and do little art projects on the side. And that enough, sometimes I just have to stop everything, for sometimes 6 weeks and just kind of take some time off. And, guys like you aren't doing that. It's like you need the content coming out consistently. That takes work and, that will build up. But you mentioned full-time trading. I mean, is that still a goal you're looking into? Because, or what do we think about that? I know a lot of people have been wondering when you're going full-time. Or is that something you want to do, or what do we think about that?
Yeah, man, 100%. I mean, my job is great. I'm not gonna lie. My job is amazing. High paid, great pension, good benefits. So like, it'd definitely be a really tough job to let go. And that being said, especially it's so laid back, right? I can already trade from work. So that being said, like,
yeah, that's nice.
If I can, be debt free, if I could make my salary in like a month or two, maybe 3 months, be debt free, and have like enough savings in my bank account for a year's worth of paycheck, then I think I would quit.
Yeah.
And pursue trading full time. And then I could maybe monetize my content more and do a paid Discord and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I speak with many full-time traders who just are killing it, and they all have that similar advice. We have a lot of people at Black Box Stocks, a lot of members who want to go full-time, and they're and a lot of them do. They just go for it sometimes when they're not necessarily, maybe where they need to be financially. But I've known people to just go for it. But that's what they all say. They say, okay, I know Charlie says have 2 years. Maria says have 1 year. 7 Star says have 2 years of like your living expenses in cash tucked away, and then be totally out of debt. And then, they just have these things. They would definitely recommend that situation so you don't have to live off your trading account when you go full time. They're saying that's just a psychological recipe for disaster. And that's a bad paraphrase of all of their, Kang is the same way. He's given the same advice. Hell's Bells, all of them do. But, a lot of people go full time when that's not the case. They quit their job and maybe they have debt and they're worried about paying a car payment or rent or whatever. And so I've kind of followed you and we've talked about it. I think you've got a great mindset about when you would, go full time. And that sounds like a really mature, smart way to do it, because you don't want to go full time for 2 months and then have to get your job back because it doesn't work out,
Right. Can you even get your job back? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. People call it, what do they call it? The golden handcuffs, right? Like you make enough at your job, but you also do well trading. But, all those things are realities that I think some people don't take into, account. Man, I sound old, don't I? I sound old.
No.
You got to take some realities into account. You can't just do what you. Oh, man.
Yeah, right. You know what would be interesting, I think? And I'm thinking about doing this.
Yeah, was
this guy, Drippy, is it Drippy? Or SPAC Trader? I forget his name.
SPAC Guru?
But he actually. Maybe he came out and said that he's actually quitting trading.
Oh, okay.
For a while, he got really lucky with AMC. He has like almost 60,000 followers. He made a lot of money with AMC, and I guess he's been kind of not having success anymore. And I think it'd be interesting to interview him, maybe.
I totally agree. Someone who was a successful full-time trader, and then for whatever reason they're walking away from it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah,
like the other side, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's realities involved, and it's just an interesting thing. Trading, there's this thing. It happened to me early on where it's just beginner's luck, you know. In the first couple months, often people are profitable and they make some money. And sometimes, you know, they're making more than they make at work for the first month or so, right? And then, you know, and then that draws down and you lose it or whatever. You give that profit back. It's a very common thing. And I think, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think some people have an unrealistic notion of the realities of trading year in and year out consistently?
Oh man, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, like especially the people came in 2020 where it's like buy high and sell higher. You know what I mean? And, and the AMC run, and then I remember SPRT went like a crazy amount of percent. So did ORPH in the small cap world. And that's what people kind of started with, and then they made a lot of money. They ran with that, and then kind of got blown up. And I get a lot of well, actually not so much anymore, but I've had my DMs closed, but I used to get a lot of DMs about people like saying how desperate they were to like make some money back, or like, you know, they're like, I have my father's life insurance money or something like that. Like I've gotten that message before, and I'm like, man, they never come to you at the beginning though. They come to you after they've blown up like half of it. And I'm like, bro, like you need to stop. You need to stop.
Yeah, you know, like it's hard for some people to just stop.
Yeah, that desperation trading will kill you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like the mindset is, or even if you're revenge trading, if you lose, and everybody's different, right? I mean, I come from a middle class background, but some people come from very wealthy backgrounds, and for them, they can maybe do a YOLO for risk 10K and risk the whole thing, right? Like I personally wouldn't, I would not do that, is what I'm saying. But like the idea of people, you know, get this, we see a lot of gains online that I think are usually just lies. That's just me being a cynic, I guess.
No, for sure. It's easy to fake, man. Like it's literally just text. Anyone can do that. Or paper trading or whatever. Yeah, or even if it's legit. I mean, there's risk reward involved and there's account sizes involved. And you know, somebody might have made $60,000 today and they posted that and they posted the confirms. But what you don't know is that maybe they have a $3 million account. So it wasn't that hard for them to risk that, right? Or maybe they lost 120,000 last week and they're posting only the gains. So we see all that, and we are in a capitalistic reality, you know, where we have to make money to survive, and why not make as much money as possible? So that messes with us, I think, on an evolutionary level, where we equate money with our survival, and we see trading as a way to get rich fairly easily, and I just think that's a losing proposition from the beginning. But you know, that's just me. One thing that that's always kind of bothered me is the posting of like a lot of gains. I don't know, ever since I had a small account too, and like at the beginning of 2020 or whatever, and I'd see these crazy gains, and I'd be like, man, like it's cool to see, I guess, that it's possible. Yeah, but it can also like kind of bum you out a little bit. Like, I just made like $40 today, you know, and this guy just made $20,000. Like it can do the opposite to your mindset, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt. And it can also encourage you to take more risk than you should, right? You buy 100 contracts instead of 20, and you know, it's a bad thing. Everybody is relative to themselves, and
that's the other thing too. They'll be like, you'll notice someone will, let's say they'll, like you said, the percentages are different. It's like, okay, that guy's putting in $20,000. I can full port my $1,000 account. But meanwhile, that guy, like $20,000 is 10% of his account or less.
Right.
Meanwhile, you're 100% in.
So the psychological forces at play in that guy or girl is nothing like me full porting my $1,200 account. So we can't make the same decisions based on the same charts because our psychology sees it differently.
Exactly. And I used to make that mistake when I was a newer trader. I'd be like, wow, he's going to put, you know, $20,000 into this small cap, small cap trash ticker.
Garbage.
I'm going to full port this. And then meanwhile, then I end up like down 50%. And I'm like, how did this happen? And you know, he's up somehow. And I'm like, what?
No doubt. You hear in flow trading, you hear people say, okay, well, if the whale is going to risk $100,000 on this contract, I can
Right.
risk half my account. I can risk
Right.
2,000, and like that's just a bad mindset. Like that
Oh,
could
it's
be.
brutal.
You never know what really is going on with the wells and the institutions with flow trading. I mean, that could be pennies to them. That could be a YOLO. That could be
Yeah.
anything. And you have to stay relative to your own situation, and definitely think that's something that's going on in the trading community on FinTwit. I think that you're one of the great, I think, the shining lights because you're transparent and you're just, you're not BSing everyone upside every tree they find. So I mean, I think it's great you're doing that and you're transparent about it, but it's got to be a lot of work for you for sure.
It is, man. One thing that's a lot of work too on FinTwit is like anybody who's making callouts. That's like for one so stressful, and
bet.
two, it's like it's a lot of work, man. Like you gotta not only like type in all the information correctly
Yeah.
to put it out there or say it correctly, but you also have to execute the trade and manage it for yourself. So kudos to anybody who's actually doing those like quote unquote call outs, not
Yeah.
financial advice.
Right. Right.
That's tough, man. That's really, really tough.
I
Especially like you're down or whatever, and you're
Oh,
like,
man.
man, I took so many people with me. It's like, bro, it's brutal.
Yeah, when I interviewed Kang, the man, Kang the
Yeah.
man is his actual full name that he was born with. Kang the
Oh,
man.
yeah. I've heard of it. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, he was. I mean, by the way, I've never called out any public trades. That's not what I do. I'm not one of those moderators at Black Box. I just do some behind the scenes stuff in the podcast. So I'm definitely not someone with a trading room. That's not what I do. I would not want to call out public trades. I think my brain would just crumble under that pressure.
Oh,
But
it's
Kang,
so much pressure.
I can't imagine. Kang told me we talked for hours, and he said basically it's tough because he hates when people follow him into something and it's just constant DMs. Okay, are you still in? Are you still in? When do we get out?
Right.
When do we get out? So like, and they don't really give exits. The exit is up to you. So how do you deal with people who follow you into something, but then they're just constantly wanting to follow your exit as well? What's your philosophy on that?
I don't know. I don't really like posting exits.
Yeah.
Unless I'm live on voice, then I can talk about it and it's instant.
Yeah. Right.
But
right.
as like if I'm tweeting out an idea, like you're never gonna. By the time I tweet my exit, the move is already down 50% because I'm mostly day trading. So it's like
Yeah. Right.
you have to know how to manage your position to properly take like a texted call out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, the exits are tough. The exits are very tough.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. And Kang also said, okay, so when he posts a trade and say it goes the wrong way, and people lose money on it, they're DMing him all sorts of things. And he said what you just said. He also is dealing with taking a loss. He just lost 20% on whatever his position was. Who knows? But he's dealing with that. So that's got to make it hard. Or I don't know. Does that make it harder for you to deal with your losses when you have people who have followed you also like blowing up the DMs? Oh,
yeah, man. You just feel like trash. You're like, man, not only do I feel like crap just because I've already lost money, but not everyone can handle risk management. Actually, most people can't
that's true.
control their risk management properly.
That's true.
And so it's like, bro, like you just feel horrible.
Yeah.
People blown up everywhere.
Have you considered like just not doing call outs anymore?
I don't really do them.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah,
occasionally,
right.
but I typically like you don't see it very often from me. What I do now is I'll post those. I do those watch lists with levels that everyone's doing it now. But so I started adding PTs, but that's a lot of work too. Like that takes a lot of time. But yeah, I play a bit differently now. So I'll post those watch lists, and I tell people, listen, you can use those levels as obviously support and resistance, but you don't have to wait for the breakout to take calls, and you don't have to wait for this level to snap to take puts. You can do the opposite. You can wait for it to bounce on support and take calls instead of trying to trade the breakout and take puts, and that allows you to control your risk by putting that stop loss right underneath that level, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of what I've been preaching. Those BRBs by Theta Warrior, I use those a lot. We call them based in breaks in House of Stacks. I've been trading a lot in there recently.
It it's hard. Like you just said it. You place the stop wherever the stop is, before you figure out where you're going to leave before you get in, and then you honor that stop. And like, in my opinion, that takes most everyone a long time to get good at. So I bet that's part of the issue. People aren't they're kind of newer to trading, and it's just hard to take a loss when you're new to trading. What advice do you have for any new traders? If like, we just want to hang on one more candle or 5 more candles, we just want to wait and see. I mean, what's your advice? How do we take losses?
Yeah. So as far as so for taking a loss, like it's all about risk management for me now. Like now that I've kind of figured out my trading style a little bit more in depth, what I do basically, since I trade from work, is I'll take maximum 4 trades a day. And if the first 2 trades are red, then I'm just done. And I have a very tight risk that I take. And so if my first 2 trades are red, I might be down 20% on those 2 trades, which could be 5 to 10% of my port, depending on my account size and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I have been controlling my losses. That's what I'd recommend for people trading from work or for newer traders is, if you're taking a loss and you take another loss and you have a small account and you're new, I think you should just be done, because your mindset is just going to start to erupt and you're going to want a revenge trade, and all those bad habits are going to take over your brain, right?
Yeah. And
on the other side, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, nothing. But
no, sorry. I was just going to say on the other side, what I hate to see too is when you do guess the right move, but you just don't take profits. And then well, there's 2 situations. One is you don't take profits, and then the thing gets lower, and you're like, oh, okay, well, it'll bounce back up to where I originally decided I wasn't going to take profits, and then it doesn't. Then it goes for break even, and you're like, well, it'll still go green, and then it goes red, and you're like, well, it's got to go back to break even, and then it goes really red, and then you end up stopping out at a 40% loss or something crazy. That's one scenario. And then the other one, which is a bit better, is let's say you do take profits, but you take them a bit early, and you see that stock continue to run and run and run. Yeah. And you just beat yourself up. And I'm like, man, once you're out of that trade, close that stock. Don't look at it anymore. Unless you're planning on scalping it again or taking another day trade, get the hell out of there. Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, it took me a full 6 months probably to stop watching, especially leaving money on the table, which I don't really like that phrase, but that's what I called it at the time. I don't like house money. I don't like leaving money on the table. It's not gambling. It's not poker, but it's not house money. That's real money in your account. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it took me 6 months to be able to get out of a trade, and then say I profited 20%. And it runs up to whatever. It really was a demoralizing thing for a while until it finally clicked. Like a trade that you are in is just a moment in time. You opened it and you closed it, and that's the trade. Like nothing exists before or after it, and it just took a long time for that to click. I used to just sit there and watch things run and just hate myself for a long time. Right.
But the other good thing too, and you can apply this, if you do start with a small account or whatever, is if you are having that issue, first step is don't worry about it. Just collect those small gains, compound, and then eventually, once you have a bigger account size, you can leave a runner in, sure. And if it goes red, it's not going to take away too much from your large size. But I don't think you should be leaving a runner unless you have 10 contracts. You know what I mean? Anything under that.
I agree.
And it's going to be too large of a runner, because I think that's a mistake too. Is people buy 2 contracts and be like, left 1 runner, but it's bro, that's 50% of your position.
That's 50%. Yeah, right, right.
You can still go red on the day with a 50% runner.
Yeah, I totally agree. So November is when I started noticing it was getting harder for me to kind of make larger than say 25% profits on, because I pretty much just day trade options. Pretty much you do.
Yeah.
And
me too.
I never sell any premium. I don't have any long stocks, just a few, but pretty much it's just short-term option stuff. And I don't think, especially since the new year, I definitely have not been up more than 20% on any single trade, because I'm taking profits at 15 to 20% at this point, especially the last 2 months. I've never been up like 300% on something to let an unrealized gain, like you mentioned a few minutes ago, just bleed out. I know people will get up hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes and they don't realize it, and they just let it, sit and it will just, bleed out. So I definitely have been taking profits pretty quickly for the last few months because the conditions we've been in. So I'm happy with 15% right now. That's a huge win. That's great. And some people don't think that.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And like, I had Simply Sim on my show yesterday, and she actually said something that kind of clicked with me a little bit. Not yesterday, but in a Twitter Spaces earlier in the week. But she said it's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Yeah.
So just keep collecting, man. Just keep collecting.
Yep.
Get the bag, put it in your pocket, and just move on. And if I'd rather have a month of green days than a month of red days, but one day where I caught a 500% runner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, that's the goal, is to have all green days, or not even all green days, but just consistency. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, no doubt. And that's you're wanting to work toward full time and go full time and like that. That seems to me the full time traders I've spoken with at length who are doing it for a long time. And Hell's Bells most recently, that's one great example of it's consistency. That's all they seem to worry about. It's not about 3,000% gains. It's not about 10 baggers. It's It's about they've got what they need and they're doing what they have to do because they've been so long at this point without a job, or I'm sorry, without a boss, making their own realities. They can never go back to it. And they're doing what they have to do to stay consistent. And way back to what you said, this is a thing too, Hell's Bells, we talked about this. You mentioned people want to know if you're consistently profitable before they want to pay you for a Discord or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that term. I mean, I understand what it means. I'm not ignorant of that. I understand what it means. But there is no trader anywhere that doesn't suffer losses and drawdowns and
of course.
So consistently profitable, I think some people conflate that with someone who's, making $50,000 a week sometimes, is my opinion on that. I don't know about consistently profitable. I mean, I know what it means, but maybe we need to broaden our mindset about that a little bit.
Well, yeah, because then you got to decide, why am I paying for this room? Am I paying for this room to take call outs, or do I honestly want to learn what this guy has to teach me?
That's right. That's a different thing. That's right.
So if I'm just taking call outs, I want to know if you're consistently profitable, because I'm just going to mindlessly, I see you put something on paper and I'm just going to blindly take it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if you actually want to learn from that person and try to trade like them, or get some insight into how they trade and how they built their strategy, then I don't think it really matters. And I think you can just go in there and kind of see what they do and learn their style, learn maybe what you like, what you don't like, and still take things away from it. And that's kind of why I would do a paid service more so, because a lot of people are interested in how I trade, especially how I trade from work and all that kind of stuff. But you just because of how FinTwit has been developed and the stigmas around paid rooms and stuff, you can't really call it something like that. I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a.
They're like, "Are you making $1 million a week or not?"
Oh,
like,
man.
no, and they're like, "Screw off! Like, we don't want anything to do with you."
No, I'm not, and no one else is either. So
right,
I don't know. I've really become just doubtful. Not anybody in particular. No one I've had on my podcast or anything, but just generally speaking, I'm cynical about all these, people who make $700,000 a year trading 2 hours a day. I don't believe it. I just don't.
Right.
I don't believe it. I could be wrong, and if anybody's out there making that kind of money, and I'm wrong, that's fine. But I've seen enough full-time traders up close now to really see what it looks like, and it's an amazing living a lot of these people have, but it's not as always portrayed, the Rolex stuff and all that garbage,
Right.
No offense if you have a Rolex. It's a beautiful watch. Do you have one?
I do not have one.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know.
I wish, man.
All right, so
I was just gonna say, you can always tell, like, I think, like, now that I'm more experienced, you can always tell, like, who's like legit and who's kind of putting on a promotional advertisement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Some of those YouTube ads, those trading ads that pop up, because, you look at trading stuff on YouTube and a lot of people get the same, I don't remember their names, but there's a couple ads I see all the time. And it's like, does anybody really fall for this? And the answer is obviously yes. I'm sure people do, but
it gotta be. That's how they make money. Because it's like, are you talking about the ones where like it'll be some guy and he's like in a leather jacket and he's like in the Swiss Alps and he's standing in front of like 3 Lamborghinis and he's like, you want to, like,
do you like this jacket?
Yeah. You see this jacket, these cars. You want a life like me?
This
You
jacket.
gotta sign up for my course.
Yeah, this jacket is so much better than your jacket, and your Toyota Corolla sucks.
Yeah, right.
And then
it's like, what's happening here? And you're like, oh, it's a pyramid scheme.
You want lamb?
Dude,
Yeah. I could go on.
Go ahead.
No, and part of our psychology, even though we like to pretend like, oh, we're above that, we're not. Listen, people in my generation, I'm in my 40s, and people want to, bitch about people all these kids nowadays, they stay inside and they play this social media stuff. And like, everybody wants to act like we were constantly up in the woods being Daniel Boone, in the 1980s. They want to act like we weren't just playing Nintendo when it first came out.
Right.
So there's a part of us part of our brain, whoever we are, we see that nice jacket and we're like, that jacket is nicer than mine.
Right. Yeah. Someone in my Twitch chat just said, quote unquote, let me show you how I make 200K, a month day trading. Like,
yes. I make $200,000. I make $50,000 a week. I make one teacher salary per week.
Yeah, let me show you. Anyone can do it.
Just scalping the open. Yeah, I think.
Have you ever been in like a pyramid scheme before?
I almost got lured into one back in the 90s.
I got suckered into one.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember the name, but it's a pretty famous one where like I almost got sucked into one. What did you get? How did they get you? What was it?
So like. I'm not religious. This is how this is gonna start. I'm not religious, but I'm not like anti-religion. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm open to anything. I forget. There's a word for that, but I don't remember what it is. But basically, I had a religious friend, right? I think he was Christian.
Agnostic, maybe agnostic.
Yeah, I think so. It's
you don't believe in a religion. You don't believe in a religion, but you're open-minded to the fact that there may be a God. That's
agnostic.
You're agnostic.
Yeah, that's the one for sure. Because atheism's like, it's like low-key aggressive, but anyway.
Well, it can be. It can't,
it can be, for sure.
It can be. Man, we got so many rabbit holes going on. I could go on for years. Don't worry, I won't. But the militant atheists are like, I don't believe in God, and you won't either.
Right. Yeah. You're straight up wrong. And it's like, I'm too relaxed for that.
How do you know one way or the other? Okay, so we're both agnostics. Good.
Yeah. Right. So I used to be friends with this Christian guy, not anymore, but and he would take me to these like random like groups sometimes, one of them he's like, man, we're gonna be rich, and I was like, okay, what's up? And
he's like, be rich,
he's like, we can literally be our own boss, and I'm like, okay, you're selling it.
I like that.
And he's like, all we have to do is get our family and friends to sign in under us, and then they're their own boss, and we make money every month from them, and they make money every month from other people that they sign on, but we get all that money as well. We get a cut from everything. I'm like, man, that sounds pretty sweet.
So we're like their grand boss, kind of.
Yeah.
And their great grand boss.
And so I'm like, wait, you're telling me there's one person at the top, and then there's a couple underneath, and then 3 underneath, and then 4. It's like shaped like a triangle, like a pyramid. That's crazy.
Pyramids are cool.
But I'm like, okay. And so I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, let's do this. And I ended up getting caught up in this company. They're called AOL. And we were selling. Well, I don't really know what we were selling because I was a teenager and didn't understand it.
You were selling freedom, financial freedom. You were selling be your own boss, mom. Mom, would you like to be your own boss, father?
Yeah. Well, okay, sure. I'll be my boss. What do I do?
Well, you pay me. Know. You pay me a lot of money, and then you are your own boss, right?
Right. So allegedly it was to like sell this like
Yeah.
internet service for like like the debit machines, how they're like wireless.
Well, it was
Like
called
the wireless
it was
service for that.
it was called AOL,
Yeah, AOL, all capitals.
like America Online. Like it was the same name of that company as that company.
Same letters, different company though. I forget exactly what they're called.
That sounds so shady. That sounds.
Yeah, man, it was really shady.
So did you
I
get?
remember like, what's that?
I was gonna say, did you get sucked into where you actually put money into it?
No, I didn't
Okay,
put any
good,
money
good,
in.
good.
Yeah, I got to the point where they wanted money from me,
Yeah.
and I was like, no, I'm stepping out. And I remember we were in this WhatsApp group, and like, bro, it was such a cult, man. They would
Yeah.
like shun you if you didn't go along with them, and like, bro, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then I remember the guy who was like in charge of the whole thing. He came and did like a speech or something. I don't really know what it was, like a presentation, I guess.
Yeah.
And he was just like, the way he was talking was like so calculated and like I don't know, just like like he was a pro. He was a pro at just getting people to believe anything that he said.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, like I don't know. And I think most of the people there were religious, but I don't know if there's a link there or not.
That's
It's just
interesting.
something that
Yeah,
I
that's
noticed.
interesting.
But no, it was wild, man. And then I just kind of ended up ghosting everybody. Like I left the chat and I just stopped signing into my account. So I probably still have an account there.
So you became your own boss, and then you fired yourself, and then you, and then you went and got a real job. Then you,
Yeah, literally.
critics of religion say that some people who have bad intentions, kind of religion can tap into that need to belong to something, and the social anxiety people feel. So maybe there could be a something that could be manipulated in a similar way among religious folk. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because they like to like they're believing in one thing that's kind of powerful, right? And then in this presentation, that guy was a thing that appeared to be powerful and rich. So I don't know. It could be. It's a similar situation. But
So I like this topic. I don't understand the people who are like, look at my bank account. And then on the YouTube, videos and stuff that they show you like their pay stubs. Like,
right.
Oh, well, that's, I just verified it. There's no way that could be faked.
That's like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, here's $80,000 last month, and here's $28,000 this month. And I'm ready to sign up. Where do I sign up? I mean, you showed me
a paycheck, and I'll quit and work for you.
You showed me a paycheck that you photoshopped with Canva or something, like the free version of Canva.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So real quickly, I have a great question about Trader Spotlight, but this is fun. So let's keep going down this wild road of irrational. All right. So I was also a teenager, and do you remember those imposter fragrances? By any chance? You may be too young, but here's the deal. In the 90s, there were these ads that would say, if you like obsession, then you'll love, and it's like some fake cologne that smells sort of like obsession, but not really, and like with a similar color and bottle and name. So in the 90s, all these colognes were super popular. Right. And all these dudes were like, I got to have, 12 squirts of Drakkar on, or I can't go to the mall. Right. So these colognes were like pretty expensive, and I live in the Southeast, which you can tell because I sound like I live in a swamp, and I totally understand. I totally understand that.
I love it.
But the thing was, it was like this company, and they're like, basically, well, you can sell people these fake knockoff colognes, and you just buy them from us for like $10 a bottle, and then you can sell them for whatever you want. And they would be like, if you sell your 10 bottles for $15, then you made X. If you sell them for $25, then you made X. So I was a young, stupid teenager, and I thought, I'm going to mark these up and make some money. And it just dawned on me. I paid for my stupid box of imposter fragrances, and they're just garbage, right? And I was walking out of the place, and I just remember thinking, I just got scammed. This is stupid.
It's like water with muddled mint in it or something.
Oh, yeah. And the names were hilarious. It was like if there was a cologne called Joop, that was Joop, that was real popular. And like it was called Doop, Doop.
What?
I'm telling you, you can
Literally
Google
duping
it.
people.
Exactly. Right. That's what I'm saying.
They call it out
I
themselves.
looked down and I saw the bottle that I swear to the possible existing God above us, possibly, that it said dupe. And I thought, son of a bitch.
You're like, that's me right now.
That's right.
I'm the dupe.
You should Google it up later on. Google up imposter fragrances. And I just took my bottle. This is like this is like sad teenage me. I just took my cardboard box of imposter fragrance and I just put it on the side of the road and drove off in a fit of rage. I just left it there.
I don't even want my money back from this. This is such a failure.
I thought about seeing if I could go ask for a refund, but I just couldn't bring myself. I felt like that's too demoralizing to go ask the guy who I just paid for dupe the cologne. I just put him on the ground and I drove off in my Nissan Sentra and I just felt like an idiot. And I've never been swayed by any kind of scam since then. 100%.
Yeah. Okay, good. No, that's so funny, man.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll get over it one day. But imposter fragrances is, it's a scam. So pyramid schemes, people are worried about being scammed. I get it. Nonetheless, here's a question. I've got this. I don't want to take up all your time, by the way. Clearly.
No, you're good.
Clearly, we can talk about anything, which
right.
We should do that. You should get somebody in the comments. I can't see the stream, but just give us some random topics and then you tell me and we'll just try to entertain people on a random topic. But here's my serious question for you. Trader Spotlight is very similar to Riverside Chats, I think, because both of us are talking to these amazing traders. And I know when I talk to people, I learn a lot of stuff about trading, and my trading has changed since I started interviewing people for this podcast and speaking with people. So here's the specific question for you. How, if at all, how has your trading changed as a result of speaking with these awesome traders all the time?
Man, huge. It's been like insanely helpful. Like, I don't know. It's kind of been everything. You know what I mean? Like, because I, for me, I don't do well studying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very hands-on and like visual. Yep. And so if I go and I research something, like let's say I'm Googling up Bollinger Bands and I'm like reading an article or watching a video can be a bit better, but like I don't know. I don't take a lot away from it, and so it's like all right. It takes me forever and I don't really learn too much, but actually like talking to people and seeing how they use it and being able to ask questions that I can't ask a YouTube video, I think has been absolutely huge. And now I think I trade in a style of multiple professional traders, and I've kind of cherry picked my favorite things from each strategy to sort of build my own strategy. Which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
And as far as like skills and stuff, like I'd say I learned the most about like technicals and like services through the Trader Spotlights. As far as like actual raw price action, that was more so on my own, just watching the market. But a combination of both have been absolutely insane, man. So many great tips over the past couple of years. It's been awesome. I love doing the show.
I bet. Yeah, it seems like it's going really great, and I've definitely not seen all of them, but I've definitely caught quite a few. How many have you done so far?
Oh, man, roughly? I don't even know. I think I've done over 60.
Yeah, right.
Like there's been tons, and that's over like only a couple of years. So like, and I tried to set it up like I was gonna do seasons because I wanted to like take a break because it was in hot demand, man. And I was like, I need to take a break and then like kind of create almost more demand for it, but be very strategic on like, really cherry picking who I think are some top tier people to come on. But like, I just have so many lined up that I can't do that. Like, I'm supposed to be on my break right now, but I literally I have Trader Spotlights lined up for the next like 4 weeks. Oh, man. And there's more people always like asking me to be on the show. So but it's kind of it's awesome though. Like I love doing it. And it's kind of really helped my Twitch channel. as well, because I was stuck, man, at like 3,400 followers for like 2 months. And that was when I wasn't doing as many trader spotlights, and not as many live trading sessions as well. I was more so doing reviews at night, and being able to kind of jump back on the mic with some traders. It's kind of brought some life back into the channel. So we'll just be doing that more often. And now I've kind of changed it. So Trader Spotlight is, we do a similar show Monday and Wednesday, but it's not Trader Spotlight. Trader Spotlight is only with, if it's a brand new trader that's never been on the show before. But now I bring back traders from the show to do like review sessions on Monday and Wednesdays.
Nice.
So that's kind of, it's kind of a cool new thing that we're doing to kind of bring back the channel a bit. And it's been doing really well. But yeah, having all those traders on and kind of being able to cherry pick their different their trading styles has been so cool, man. And I've seen like so many different styles at this point too, like ones that are completely different, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, what's like a specific thing that you've picked up? Like I definitely picked up like a couple of types of crossovers and stuff that some of the moderators are doing over at Black Box that are pretty helpful, and definitely a lot of flow trading stuff that I just didn't think about getting into. But is there any specific strategy or anything that pops to mind that you definitely can attribute to someone that you use regularly, or is it more of just a conglomerate of everyone?
No, I definitely lean the most towards Maple Stacks trades.
Yeah.
You'll out on Twitter, I think it's just Maple Stacks. But basically, like the biggest thing that he taught me that was kind of like an eye opener, and I only interviewed him recently, and he kind of, without directly saying it, he sort of showed me how to manage my risk and how to. It's almost as simple as buying calls in demand and buying puts in supply, but finding those key levels. That's the tricky part.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And then the breaking bases, and I use those two plays like every day because they have a really high win rate. And another thing that he brought up was what he calls stacks time, and that's at 10 and 10:30 and 11:30, but his alarm goes off at 10. And so basically in that time, if you go back and look at like the history of the market, you can go back 10 years, and at 10 o'clock or 10:30 and 11:30, the market will change direction completely 70% of the time.
70%.
Yeah, which is fairly high. So if you have other confluence all lining up and it's that time, and you're looking at maybe a reversal, then I'd say more often than not, it is actually going to reverse. And I didn't believe him, but then he went back and he showed me so many examples, and I was like, what the hell, dude? How you cracked the code? What the hell?
So 10:30 and 11:30.
Yeah.
70%. Okay.
Yeah, that's from his findings. And even if you go back, like, let me pull up buy here just while you're talking and see if it did that. But yeah, how's it impacted your trading, having your show? Because we do have very similar shows.
Oh, it's definitely made me a more disciplined trader for sure. That's the thing. Like, I think we've only got maybe. This is maybe the 6th full episode, I think. And some of these early episodes, I mean, they've gone 3-4 hours, and it's just, I feel like I'm sitting there. I feel like I owe them tuition. I'm just sitting there one-on-one talking to them late into the night, and they're just going over different things. And there's a lot of things I could point to, but really the thing that most I've taken from it is I've become a more disciplined trader and a more patient trader for sure. Like I would just get bored sometimes, and just place trades out of boredom, and a lot of people do that. And a lot of people don't like to admit it, but it's just, I think it's a pretty common thing. I would be waiting for a setup and it would almost be there. And I would think, okay, I'm just going to go in a little early, and it would just be a disaster, So those guys have taught me, especially Maria. I mean, I could name a lot of them, but they have really shown me, patience is the thing. If you can get 3 great trades in a week, or 1 great trade in a day, that's the way to be. Because at one point, I mean, I was placing, 40, 50 trades a day, just
Yeah, man,
scalping
me
in and
too.
out. And
Especially like no PDT in Canada. I was going crazy.
yeah, right. Yeah, no, yeah. And down here, like I just had a big enough cash account. There's no PDT on cash account, and with options, you don't need $100,000. You don't need $20,000 to, buy a lot of options. And anyway, yeah, I would make 40, 50 trades sometimes and end up like just barely green. And it would be like all day looking at the screen, for 4 hours, 5 hours, and, making $100 for that. It just got demoralizing. So that's what I've benefited from hearing these guys go on and on at a high level, which is much higher than my trading level, by the way. I've only been trading about 2 years or so. So I mean, I'm pretty new to it. But I've learned to be patient, and that's really been an awesome byproduct of interviewing these guys for sure.
No, definitely.
Like interviewing you, I've learned to, don't get in pyramid schemes. I learned that today.
Oh, perfect. If there's any takeaway,
that was a great segment. I'm gonna work up that segment for some kind of a trailer. That was a great segment. I think that was good.
No, definitly. That was really funny.
So what'd you find out? Did it reverse at 10:30?
So if we go back on Friday, on Friday, there's a big one on Wednesday, but Friday at 10:12, the market kind of topped out in supply from yesterday's high and after hours and came back down. And then at roughly just before 11, it started going back up all day. But if we go to Wednesday, high a day was at 10:18, and then it tanked. Went from 434.50 down to 424.90.
Wow.
So that's kind of wild.
Around that same time, yeah.
Yeah, and then on what day is this? This is the 14th, 10:57. The market reversed and went to the downside all day. You had nice confluence here on the 11th at 11 o'clock for puts, and then it was downside all day. This looks very phallic, what I drew over here. Head and shoulders. What is this right here? So 11:30 on the 8th. Look at that one. That's crazy.
Wait, you just drew a phallic head and shoulders? That's an interesting term.
Yeah.
Well, it's like super bad all over again.
Yeah.
So you think So you think there's something to this reversal times?
I wouldn't say to bank your whole trading style on it, but if it's looking like you're coming down to demand and things are looking like they might reverse, and it's also almost 10:30 or 11:30, you could probably take a pretty low risk entry there for calls or puts.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, that's something else I've also gained. I used to use quite a few indicators, and I've gotten down to virtually no indicators on a chart. I've seen your setup. I've seen you talk about it, but my setup has gotten much less cluttered and much more zen. And that's mainly from the influence specifically of 7-Star Mike. We do a show together. We've got a project together we do. So I spend a lot of time talking with him about trading, and he's definitely become a great mentor. But he just trades just a naked chart. He's just got volume and price.
He said before he doesn't like my chart.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I posted a chart in Black Box that had I don't even know, it had like 2 EMAs on it, literally. And he was like, clean up that effing chart, man. It had some volume bars, and it had, it had Heikin-Ashi candlesticks and 2 EMAs. And he was like, I can't deal with all those lines.
That's so funny. Yeah, I posted something. I was looking at price action, and it was like some sort of pattern forming. Yeah. And I tweeted out, and I was like, what do you guys see? Just as a tweet. And then he commented, and he's like, all I see is lines.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. He didn't invent it or anything, but he's definitely brought it to the Black Box community and beyond at this point. But he'll just draw one line of support or resistance, and he just takes these crazy trades based on that, and it's really kind of inspiring because it works for him, and
definitely, yeah.
It doesn't work
in those the ORB 15s too. I gotta try that.
Yeah, that's a huge thing that we've been getting into over the last probably month and a half, and they added it to our charting platform, and people really really got one of his videos. Actually, he kind of brought the orb. I think I may be misspeaking, but I'm pretty sure he kind of brought the orb within the Black Box Discord and the community at large.
Oh, sweet.
And no, there's a ton of people using orb entries, and I've been doing it now and then as well. And with the flow kind of, drying up over the last few months and just things kind of going crazy since the beginning of the year, it has been a useful strategy. So I mean, I'm kind of a fan of the Orb 15, and I know a lot of people aren't, but I've had probably a 65% win rate with it, give or take.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
I haven't tried it yet. I the levels I like are the high and low pre-market. For the current day, and then yesterday's high and low. Those are kind of what I focus on, and then I do have a supply and demand script that I run. But I do really want to throw those ORBs in there and kind of see what happens. Because I bet a lot of the times it would line up.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple thing. Like, the 15 seems to cut out a lot of that opening volatility, and once it opens and closes, once it breaks the high or low, and then when it retests it. Swan has been doing a lot, with his watch list and stuff, but he's been talking a lot about Orb as well. But, once it breaks out of the range and then it retests the range, and then once it breaks past that previous high, right? At that point, if there is volume there, that's the big if. If it bounces, if it retests and then breaks that previous HOD, with volume, it's not a sure bet, of course, because nothing is. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some pretty good success with it. So yeah, try it out, man. It's a super easy video, and super easy strategy. And Mike has a video going through it. But yeah, it's
I guess
cool.
The other thing you could do too is like if you couldn't find the indicator or something, you could probably just pop on the 15-minute chart and just throw a couple lines in there.
Oh, that's right. That's what people have been doing for a long time. And TOS, Thinkorswim, has an orb script that people have been using. But yeah, that's exactly it. Just chart the high and low on the 15-minute candle and then go back to your chosen time frame and check it out. And again, it takes patience. So that's one thing that I've improved upon probably more than anything in the last year has been just being overall patient, because often it'll break through but it won't really retest, or if it breaks through and just keeps going, most people won't advocate for chasing at that point. But right. I used to chase stuff all the time and just threw money away, and finally stopped doing that. So.
One thing I learned too from Maple Stacks was to recognize when something is ranging as opposed to just chop, like choppiness.
Oh yeah. Choppiness looks like a range. That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can recognize that early on enough while it's still in quote unquote chop, because eventually it's going to break out. Yeah. Then you can actually just trade that back and forth from demand to supply, right?
Yep.
And get multiple scalps in. And that's something that he kind of opened my eyes to. He's like, don't say chop, it's ranging. And I'm like, man, you're right. And it stops you from buying in the middle too, which a lot of people do. Then they end up losing on it.
Yeah. That's true.
It's those entries, man, those low risk entries.
It's tough. I remember when I first started, it just seemed like people who could make good entries and, it was data informed and they had reasons for making entries other than this is going up. Like when I first started, that seemed like black magic to me. That seemed, I didn't know how they did it. It just seemed like it was an unimaginable magic that these people possessed. And it's amazing to slowly learn that and be able to understand identifying patterns and probabilities. It's just math, it's not magic. But still.
Math and people's psychological as well.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know. How big of a part do you think trading psychology, or how big of a part do you think psychology plays in trading, percentage wise? Because I've got a
percentage wise. Well, for retail, I think it's everything.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good distinction. That's a great distinction. Yeah, for retail.
And I think there's something to it for just how the patterns work in general. But I remember I reasoned it out once to myself, but I can't remember what I said. Yeah,
it must have been profound,
Yeah, I had a kind of a eureka moment, and then I was like, "Well, what's on TV?" And now it's gone.
Yeah, and then Peaky Blinders came on, and The World According to Jeff Goldblum dropped a new episode, and
dude, dude, that show's awesome.
Oh, he's something else. I like it too.
There's not a single person on earth with that guy's mindset.
That could be
nobody else.
it could be a good thing. I agree. I think, like, what do you think about him? Do you think he's just playing it up? Do you think he's playing Jeff Goldblum? Because he clearly affects certain things. Or do you think that we're seeing mostly how he really is? That's what I want to know about that guy.
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, I think that's probably him, just because the way, like, how deep the show dives into things and kind of how silly it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and I think that's kind of a weird character to play if it's not him.
And he's been that way since he's been that way for a long time. Publicly.
Yeah.
He's been that way for a very long time.
Bro, you could walk up to him, kick him in the shin, and then spit on him and walk away, and he'd be like, "Wow, that was a really interesting experience." It's like
those sensations. He would,
he'd be like happier that happened to him.
He would take his large plastic framed glasses off, and he would thoughtfully move his thumb toward you. Have you noticed his thumb?
Yeah.
He's got those odd thumbs, and he'll say, "I hope you feel better now." And
right.
Yeah,
100%.
And of course, he would say something we can't even imagine because.
Right.
So yeah, we totally didn't get this was an insight you had, and Jeff Goldblum has ruined it. All right.
But also, he, like, the way he dresses, like, he's dripping, man. I
Yeah,
love his
he
he knows how to dress.
He's definitely got style, and I do like his odd mindset for sure. You're right. Nobody seems to think like
very
that guy.
unique.
Okay, so what trader do you know, if you had to pick one, would be closest to capturing the sort of ambiance and intellectual, interesting aspects of Jeff Goldblum? Who's the trader you know that is most like Goldblum?
Most like Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, who would you choose for that?
Maybe Deb's in chat. Deb, what do you think? Maybe Palmer? Maybe Professor Palmer or Carrie Palmer? Would it be Maple Stacks? Maybe Maple Stacks. That's a tough question.
The Jeff Goldblum of trading.
Herv, maybe. Yeah, maybe Herv from Real Ones. He's
Gotcha.
He's a small cap trader.
Okay.
I could see Herv or Palmer probably.
That's another thing too. This might be a good place to kind of segue toward the end, because I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of down on Twitter. And are you still into FinTwit? Is FinTwit a good place? Do you think FinTwit's going in a good direction? We can talk about whatever, but that's kind of the last thing I really kind of wonder what your mindset is. Where's FinTwit going to be a year from now? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, FinTwit, I think, was like heavily carried by Atlas trading. Like, that's kind of where I feel like everybody started. Like, I don't remember what FinTwit. I don't know what FinTwit would be without Atlas, kind of. But and they were all about like that positivity and like working together, us versus the market makers, and like that sort of stuff. And I think that's kind of how FinTwit was sort of created. I might be wrong, but that was just my experience. And then, like, they kind of fell apart, which, I guess a lot of good things, have to come to an end at some point. But and then people branched out and were like, I'm gonna do my own thing. And then, people were like, they're pumpers. And then the negativity started flowing. And I think that kind of went with the market too, because like the market was so hot when Atlas was popular and FinTwit was happy. And then when things started to not be as easy, Atlas started to not really fall apart, but sort of fall apart or get less popular, I guess. And people started leaving and starting these paid rooms, and it kind of like took FinTwit with it. And now FinTwit's kind of like, there's no single driving force anymore. And I think the problem with FinTwit now is it's so spread out, and it's such like an advertisement marketing place now. You know what I mean? Like there's not many personalities anymore. I think it's more so about marketing, and it's very, I wouldn't say divided, but like split up and like spread out than it used to be, because it used to be very focused. And I think losing that focus is kind of maybe made it a bit of a less fun place to be. The Discords are popping off though. Like if you're in the right Discord, like Black Box Stocks or House of Stacks, Real Ones, there's still a lot of fun places to be, as you know, what's kind of like the babies of what FinTwit created, I guess.
Yeah.
But FinTwit as a whole, I don't know if it's dying. It's just kind of in a weird place right now. The current thing right now in FinTwit is the live trading spaces. That's what it's all about. If you want to get followers, it's easy. You start a live trading spaces, and like you'll see that FinTwit is still there. Like they didn't go anywhere, because those spaces, the live trading, they get over 1,000 listeners. Like right now on my stream, I only have 15. You know what I mean? Right. So like FinTwit is there. They're there. They're just maybe a little grouchy and maybe looking for the easy, the easy brainless stuff again that we might not get, or we just don't have.
Right.
But quality 15. That's right, Deb.
the best 15. The
best. Yeah.
The top 15.
No, I just noticed something looking at your Twitter. So you've tweeted.
Oh, mine? Oh, God.
Yeah. No, you're good. You've tweeted 1,090 times, and it says that at the top.
Okay.
If I go to mine,
that's a lot, isn't it? Is that a lot?
I've tweeted 27,300 times.
I need to catch up.
Like, holy crap, man! I like to look at that sometimes. It's really funny.
How long have you been on Twitter though? I think I joined it October or November, like this past November, I think.
Yeah, you joined after me. I joined January 2021.
Okay.
You joined October.
So 27,000 tweets. Does that count like every little response, or just tweets that you originate?
I think it's every reply as well.
So every reply is a tweet.
I think so.
And you've tweeted a lot. What's the most profound thing you've ever tweeted?
Probably something really opinionated.
You keep personal stuff out of it. Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's interesting and wise, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Have you ever kind of gone down that route and then immediately said, "No more personal things. I'm done"? What's the idea about that?
Oh, well, I started out very personal, right? Yeah. And like, posting my P&L and stuff like that, and I'd share like pictures of my backyard and stuff. And then I just was like, as I got like kind of more popular, I was like, I might just keep this as like a separate, like more of a business. You know what I mean? Not like, but I don't know. Like, I don't really even know what it is. Like, I guess I'm like an influential person in some way, but like, I'm not. Like, I didn't mean for it to be like that. I wanted it to be more like a business. So I don't know. It's like kind of personal because you get to know me, but like I don't post a lot about my personal life.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a wise choice for anybody who think of yourself, if nothing else, think of yourself as a public figure, because I think that's wise for people to keep in mind, because, do you want 7,000 strangers knowing what your backyard looks like?
Right.
Maybe you do, but a lot of people don't, and I'm very interested in the privacy aspect of public figures, because people want you guys. They want more info than you guys are willing to give. And I know that's the thing that people face. So I don't know. Just always remember you're a public figure. And
even just doing my face reveal was terrifying.
Oh, how long did that take?
So I did that how many followers did I hit? Do you guys remember in chat how many followers I hit when I did my face reveal? Maybe Deb remembers. I think I hit it was low. It was like 5,000 or something, or maybe even less. So it was a long time ago, but I did it over Twitch because Twitch was my baby. I was man. Have I talked to you about like my schedule when I was doing live trading on Twitch? It was insane. I can talk about that in a second. I did it on Twitch. And we got hammered that night. It was like myself, Fake Pear Bear, Thiz from Wheel Ones, Deb was there. There was some other guests too. We just kind of we didn't really do anything. We just kind of talked and listened to music and kind of partied. And this was during COVID too, so I had like crazy hair. It was so like poofy and like long, and I was like, yeah, this is me.
This is the time.
And then but then and that was fine. But then what happened after that was people started using my pictures outside of like in really weird ways. Like somebody added or sent me a DM, was like, check this out. And some guy was like posting my picture without tagging me. And he would just be like, we're going to short squeeze the SPY today or some crap like that. And then just a picture of me. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And he had a really creepy and like kind of disturbing.
I saw that. I think I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
Like some kind of a dog avatar or something. I saw a little bit of that.
I was like, man, what the hell is happening? Is like, so that can happen too.
So that was right after your face reveal, pretty much?
Not right after.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
Maybe a few months. I was like, man,
so that's like, weird.
I guess this is what happens, right?
Imagine people like we joked around online about PewDiePie's clutch chair that you need to buy for your new place.
Yes.
How do you like the new place, by the way? Is it awesome?
Not there yet. So we'll be there in on May 1st. And we'll check that out.
Oh, that's coming up. Yeah, that's coming up. So
I'm so excited for the new stream room, man. Like, I want to put like I want to kind of do like light wood tones, sort of with like greenery and like neon lights, and be like a cool chill space, maybe a little couch or something.
Yeah, gotcha.
That'd be sweet. I gotta soundproof it though.
And a red and black chair from Clutch, maybe.
Yeah, I want. Well, you know what? I want something comfortable. I don't know how comfortable those are. Do you have one?
No, I don't have one. Oh, okay. But
I don't really care what it looks like. You know, I just want something comfy.
The point of that, of course, PewDiePie is a ridiculous example, but come down, many levels from that level of popularity. But imagine what people go through. Say people who are at that level of 150,000 followers, and you know what I mean? They release any kind of content and they're getting, huge amounts of engagement. That must be, I wonder if people end up regretting getting big enough, like you're talking about.
For sure.
There has to be a level when it's just not worth it for most people.
Especially on FinTwit. Like I know Zach Morris has said before that he hates his followers. Laid Back said the same thing, deleted Twitter, brought it back.
You were cracking me up with your there's only one Laid Back like confusion tweets. Was that you or was that somebody else? I thought it was you saying I thought there was only one. Like I remember.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah. I don't know, bro. That was so cringy the way he left. and then to make it worse, he comes back too. I'm like, man, like, that's such boomer energy, bro.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so those are good. Those are good examples. Like that level of like, there just has to be a point when money's just not worth it. It's like,
right. And then that brings it back to the conversation of like, are those guys consistently profitable?
Right.
Well, I guess not.
Maybe not.
But they're doing like paid stuff. Well, Laid Back used to. I paid for his room for a month, and then he ended it and didn't refund me. I was there for like 2 weeks.
Oh man, did you get to like meet him or anything, like DMs, or was it totally like?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
No, I DM'd him and stuff, and like he would go on Voice and yell at us every now and then. Literally, man, it was so funny. He'd be like, "Everyone on Voice," and I'd be like, "Oh boy, here we go." And I'd just pop in to see what he had to say, but he'd be just screaming at us about like, I don't even know. He could just because there'd be like a few bad plays in a row. Yeah. And he'd just start yelling at us.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Yell at the people they're paying. You mentioned earlier too, like there's less personalities on FinTwit. Like it's less personality driven. Man, people love strong, whether it's funny or whatever it is, people love strong personality, charismatic people. Mm-hmm. So like,
whether it's hate or
right. Exactly. Like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter.
Good or bad. I mean, Zach Morris is a good example of that. I think people, maybe that's you might have hit it right on the head. Earlier when you said it's FinTwit is more spread out. It's more. It's kind of less personality driven. That's interesting for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's exactly my takeaway. That's how I've been seeing it anyway.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't want to keep you all day. I definitely had a blast here.
Yeah, man, me too.
That is great. What's coming up? Like, are you really excited about in Trader Spotlight, or is there anything definitely coming up that we should be on the lookout for? You said there's like some big announcement a few days ago. I don't know if that's been announced or not. I've been
Yeah,
out
so
in the woods.
I've got bro, there's so much planned, man. Like,
Yeah,
so I've got lots of trader spotlights coming. Like, probably next weekend I'll have Stock Talk Weekly on. Monday night I'm having Maple Stacks on for an educational session. I think later tonight I'm gonna go live and play some video games.
Nice. Nice.
And then eventually, when I'm at the new place, I want to do more in the Discord. As far as like live voice, I'll probably start doing call outs in the Discord as well. And then I'm also going to start that $1,000 account challenge that everybody's doing.
Yep.
Except it's just going to be my actual account and not just like a random account that I'm using. So I'm going to take it pretty seriously.
Yeah.
And try to make some money that way. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
Nice.
I'm excited for the new stream room. It's going to look really awesome.
Yep.
Yep. And
yeah. I also love the video game content too. Like, what's your honest opinion of the Uncharted movie that's coming out? The guy who's playing Nathan Drake. Do you have any opinion about that? About that actor?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. There's just the movie's coming out, and of course that's a huge, gigantic game that tons of people, even very non-gamer people, got into. And the guy they cast as Nathan Drake is getting a lot of hate, just because he's too this or too that. But yeah, check that out. Let me know what you think.
Didn't for the video game, didn't they have an actor do like the face?
Oh yeah, he's super famous. I can't think of his name. What is his name? He's super famous in the video game world. He was in several other
in Halo and stuff.
Right. Yeah, why didn't they just get that guy? I wonder.
Because he's been in movies as well. Like, he's actually an actor. Yeah. They could have just got him. It would have been identical.
Maybe he's too old, or maybe he costs he costs too much, maybe. Or maybe he's sick of Nathan Drake at this point.
Maybe he is, like Han Solo.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford. He's like, kill me off.
I just don't want to do a movie. I did 4 games. What's your favorite Uncharted game, by the way?
I don't remember the name of it, but there's like you go onto a submarine for one of the yeah. Oh, I forget what it is. It's like at the bottom of a waterfall or something.
That's the first game. And then that's number 1.
Is that the first one? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's like
that's the one.
And right at the very tip of the submarine, there's like a treasure that you find. Some kind of
yeah. Yep. I haven't played them enough, man. I don't know them as well as you.
Yeah, that's number 1. That's the first one. It's my favorite too.
Good morning. It's just getting up.
Well, hey, like I said, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'll be in touch. But thanks so much for coming on. Are you going to continue streaming? I might jump on. I'm going to jump off here. But are you going to be on for a while, or are you done?
No, I'll be done for now.
Yeah.
And I think on later tonight.
Gotcha.
Yeah, going to get some fresh air, I think, and just relax for a bit, have a coffee. And then, yeah, we'll do some gaming tonight. I got to finish up Life is Strange 2. Colonel's going to come on voice for that because it was his idea.
Nice.
And then I'm doing a bomb game, I think, with a bunch of people. So that should be a lot of fun.
Well,
but yeah, thanks for having me, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
crazy. It's cool to get together with you because we do very similar shows, like you said. So
yeah, I loved it, and I appreciate your time. And don't work too hard. And man, I hope you monetize everything, and I hope it goes great. And I'll talk to you soon, man. I appreciate it.
For sure, man. You too.
All right.
Take care.